murder indictment against Karmelo Sincere Anthony. You've probably seen the headlines, heard the talk, maybe seen some stuff online. Our job today is simple. Give you a clear, straight-up understanding of what the legal papers actually say. Help you grasp how serious this really is. We'll look at the charge, the evidence mentioned, and what's next in court.
Yeah, it's way too easy to get caught up in all the chatter online, social media speculation, especially when the real details are hard to find or just plain wrong. So what we want to do is give you that clarity, that context, so you're not just hearing what happened, but why it's significant, and what the legal system actually looks like when it gets moving on something this heavy.
Okay, so let's get right into it. And we need to start by hitting head on a piece of, frankly, bad information that's been going around. Just completely wrong. There's this rumor, you might have heard it, whispered around all over social media feeds. Claims a cleat sharpener was the weapon used here. Okay, let's shut this all the way down. Right now, forget that. The official indictment, the legal document, it states it plain as day. Karmelo Sincere Anthony caused the death of Austin Metcalf by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon.
That's it. Full stop. No cleat sharpener, no weird tool, no gadget, no nonsense. Just a knife. And look, this isn't just splitting hairs, it matters. A knife, under the Texas Penal Code, specifically Section 1.07A17, is legally defined as a deadly weapon. That means peach-and knives, folding knives, box cutters, you name it. Anything capable of causing serious bodily injury or death fits. It's not some technical point, it's fundamental to the charge itself. It changes everything.
So yeah, if you heard otherwise, just know that's wrong. The official charge says knife. Stop letting hearsay get treated like fact. This is serious. It's life and death, not some TikTok rumor mill. All right, moving to the actual charge itself. Karmelo Sincere Anthony has been formally indicted for murder. That's a first-degree felony in Texas, governed by Texas Penal Code Section 19.02C.
Right, and what that means is a grand jury in Collin County looked at the evidence the prosecutor showed them. Remember, that's a one-sided presentation, just the state's case. And that grand jury decided there was enough probable cause to formally charge him with murder and take this thing to trial. It's not a guilty verdict, not even close, but it's a major step. It means the legal system is fully locked in on this.
The indictment document itself lays out the specific accusation. It reads, on or about the second day of April 2025 in said county and state, Karmelo Sincere Anthony intentionally and knowingly caused the death of an individual, namely Austin Metcalf, by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon, end quote. And it continues, and with intent to cause serious bodily injury, committed an act clearly dangerous to human life. That's the core language. So let's unpack those legal terms. Intentionally, knowingly. They sound similar, but they mean different things in court, right? They're crucial here.
Absolutely critical. Let's break them down. First, intentionally. Legally, this implies he had a specific conscious goal to kill. Think of it like aiming for that result. I stabbed him because I wanted him dead. That's the idea.
Okay, direct purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then there's knowingly. This is a bit different. It means he was aware that his actions, the stabbing, were reasonably certain to cause death, even if killing wasn't the explicit aim. Like, maybe I didn't plan to kill him, but I knew stabbing someone like that could very likely be fatal. It's about awareness of the probable outcome.
Aware of the high probability. Okay.
And then deadly weapon. We covered this, but it bears repeating. Under Texas law, it's not just guns. A knife absolutely qualifies if used in a way capable of causing serious injury or death. And that classification bumps up the seriousness, the potential penalties.
Right. So that combination, intentionally and knowingly in the indictment, that tells you the state is alleging a specific mindset, not an accident. And what's really interesting, you pointed this out, is they didn't just pick one. The indictment charges him under both legal definitions of murder in the code.
Yes, that's a really key strategic move. The indictment covers two bases. One, intentional or knowing murder. That's Section 19.02B1. This hits those intentionally and knowingly states of mind we just talked about. The prosecution argues he either meant to kill or knew death was practically certain.
Okay, theory one.
Two, serious bodily injury murder. That's Section 19.02B2. This theory says he intended to cause serious bodily injury, specifically. And in doing that, he committed an act clearly dangerous to human life, which resulted in death. So here, the intent might have been severe harm, not necessarily death, but the dangerous act led to the fatal outcome.
Okay, wow. So why? Why charge it both ways?
Right.
Seems like they're hedging their bets.
It's actually standard practice in many cases, and it's smart prosecuting. It gives them options at trial. Two paths to conviction. If the jury isn't fully convinced he had the specific intent to kill Theory 1, they might still be convinced he intended to cause serious bodily injury with a deadly weapon, and that act led to death Theory 2.
I see. It makes the state's case stronger, more flexible.
Exactly. It covers more ground based on how the evidence actually plays out in court, how witnesses testify. It puts the defense on notice they have to fight on two fronts, increases pressure, maybe influences plea talks down the line too.
Makes sense. A strategic legal move. All right, so we have the indictment, the charges. What happens now? What's the immediate next step for Karmelo Sincere Anthony? Well, there's a date. The first court appearance is set for Friday, July 18th, 2025.
That's right. It'll be before Judge John R. Roach Jr. over in Collin County. And it's really important people understand what this first appearance is and isn't. This is not the trial. He won't be pleading guilty or not guilty yet. It's mainly procedural. The court formally tells him the charge, first-degree murder. His attorney, Mike Howard, is confirmed as representing him. The judge makes sure he understands what he's facing. They might discuss bond conditions if those aren't fully settled, maybe schedule future dates. But no pleas, no real arguments about the evidence yet. It's just the official start of the court process, the very beginning of a long road.
Okay, so just the formal kickoff. After July 18th, assuming this moves forward, what's a typical path for a case like this? A first-degree murder charge in Texas.
Well, it unfolds in stages, and it can take a long time. First usually comes the arraignment. That's where he will enter a formal plea. Guilty, not guilty, or no contest. Given the charge, you'd almost certainly expect a not guilty plea. That sets it up for trial.
Okay, plea entered. Then what?
Then comes discovery. This is huge. Both sides, prosecution and defense, they exchange all the evidence they have. Think crime scene photos, witness statements, any video like surveillance footage, the medical examiner's autopsy report detailing cause of death, any lab analysis of the knife, police reports, body cam footage, 911 calls, everything. It's about seeing what the other side has.
So laying all the cards on the table, basically.
Supposedly. Then you get pretrial hearings. This is where lawyers argue legal points before the actual trial. The defense might file motions to try and keep certain evidence out, say, arguing it was collected improperly. The prosecution might file motions about what they want to admit. Judges make crucial rulings here that can shape the trial.
Legal battles before the main battle.
Exactly. And somewhere along the way, there might be plea bargain discussions. The DA could offer a deal, plead guilty to maybe a lesser charge, or agree to a specific sentence to avoid trial. But honestly, in a high-profile murder case like this, with a named victim, the pressure is usually high to go for a conviction on the original charge. A plea deal might be less likely or less favorable.
Right. And if no deal is reached?
Then it's trial. Jury selection, opening statements, witnesses, evidence presented, cross-examinations, closing arguments, and then the jury decides guilty or not guilty.
Okay. And if it goes to trial, and if he's convicted of this first-degree felony, what are the consequences? What's the penalty range we're talking about in Texas?
It's incredibly serious. First-degree felony murder in Texas, the punishment range is 5 years to 99 years or even life in prison, plus potentially a fine up to $10,000. And critically, for murder convictions, especially involving a deadly weapon, what Texas law calls 3G offenses, parole eligibility is restricted. He'd likely have to serve at least half a sentence or 30 years, whichever is less, before even being considered for parole. It's hard time.
Half the sentence or 30 years? Wow.
Yeah. And beyond prison time, a felony conviction like this, it follows you forever. Yeah. Job applications, housing, voting rights, gun ownership. It changes your entire life permanently. Right. The stakes couldn't be higher.
This whole breakdown, the indictment, the legal terms, the process, it just underscores how serious this is. This isn't entertainment. It's not gossip. It's the real world, real consequences of one alleged act. With a knife, a man is dead. A murder charge filed. A grand jury said proceed. Now the courts take over. It's heavy stuff.
It has to be. And we can't lose sight of the human cost in all the legal talk. Austin Metcalf's family, they're living through an unimaginable nightmare, a permanent loss. And Karmelo Anthony's family, they're facing the terrifying reality he could be gone for decades, possibly forever. That's the ripple effect. One moment of alleged violence shattering so many lives. It's profound.
We really hope walking through this indictment gives you a clearer picture, something more solid than just headlines. It's a stark look at the justice system in action and the real impact it has.
Yeah, understanding the actual facts, the legal definitions, the steps involved, it helps you process this kind of news more thoughtfully. Get beyond the noise to some real understanding.
So think about what stood out to you today. Was it the cleat sharpener myth being busted? The difference between intentional and knowing? Maybe that strategy of charging both murder theories. Consider how these legal details, they aren't just words on paper. They're the gears of the system deciding someone's fate, defining justice in a real, tangible way. That's something important to reflect on.